Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Astro Drive is a cheap racing game set in space released by Stronghold Games. Now with Stronghold Games you always had to be careful because sometimes the games were really good, sometimes they were really bad, and it's always tended to be hit or miss, but you could always count on the components being less than stellar. They've continued that reputation with Astro Drive, but I think this time it was done on purpose. Where like Terraforming Mars, you could say, wow, this is really cheap artwork, or the components could have been a lot better, which they did release a fantastic deluxe version later on. The original version kept us wanting. I think Astro Drive is kind of like that, except for it's intended to be a small, budget-conscious kind of game, but the components do look chintzy and chinky a little bit in the fact that they look cheap. And nothing in regards to the components will bring you into the experience and make you enjoy the game any longer. Probably exactly the opposite. You're going to enjoy it in spite of the components, so let's jump into the game. The game is going to be like this racing game where you're running through space and trying to miss obstacles. Some of the obstacles will pull you towards them, and you want to go around them as you're racing through it. And it uses cards as you're playing down, etc. It's an okay game. This is exactly what most budget titles are, is they don't give you what feels like a full game experience, just something quick, easy to play. The components are kept simplistic on purpose to bring out the effect of the budget title. And it does that here at Astro Drive. If you're looking for a space racing game that's travel, I mean, you can take this out of the box, chuck that box, and just put it in a little baggie. I think you're ready to go. It's very travel friendly. It's a quick playing game. It's kind of a light filler, if you will, but it's not going to blow your socks off. It's not going to be something that's very strategic. It's not going to make you think, wow, I want to keep playing this. It's not going to be your go-to racing game, but it could definitely be something you can travel around with, have in your back pocket, and introduce to people. For us, it was really a miss. It wasn't something that we found ourselves wanting to go back to. We're not really into space games in general, so the theme already had a knock against it. The components brought us out of the experience, and the gameplay didn't keep us riveted. So in that regards, it's going to be a purge for us. Not enough strategy in this one. I didn't feel like the obstacles got in the way as much. There's player elimination in the game, which is something that I loathe in a game. I don't want to see player elimination. And it didn't have that fun factor that we were looking for that added up to a product that we were happy to get rid of. So it's going to be a purge for us. Here's Astro Drive, which is number 6 in this Stronghold series for some reason. Going to get a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. So you're going to start off with some cubes. Now these are probably the most generic pieces you'll ever see. These little things here are your spaceships, and these are your energy cubes. And you're going to get a bunch of cards in here. These little small cards will be the cards that you'll use to program. Not a little artwork on them. They give you the information that you need, but not a whole lot to them, to be honest. As you can see, just numbers. And these will be the board that you actually play on. They're cards. They just kind of sit there, and they have a whole bunch. Now, these will be the player aids where you'll hold your cubes. And they have like some nice artwork on it, shows you different ships, but don't worry, all the ships are going to look exactly the same except for the colors. The components really let this game down, doesn't bring you into it all. It is a budget title, so that is fine, I guess, in that respect. So here's the rule book. You're going to have a picture of the components up there and set up through here, not too difficult. Then a picture on the next page for some reason. Game round, moving, and then you're going to have the little symbols that you'll go through, and then the map symbols on the board. So you'll have this out the first couple of times you play. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, we all got this down. And once you memorize it, you'll chuck this and won't need any more. Probably need 5 minutes to get through the rules, maybe 10 if you're a slower reader, and then you'll just use it as a reference point for the icons. I do wish all the icons, they could have put them on one page, maybe put this over here, and then put all the icons on the back. That would have been more helpful, or some kind of player aid. So this will be the board that you'll kind of be racing on. Everybody will put their spaceships here on the end, and then everybody will have their player aid, which can hold a maximum of 3 energy cubes. You're going to start out with 2. What's going to happen is you're going to continue to race down this. When somebody's not on this, it will be done. Now, in the bottom 3 cards will be the finish line, and the first person to get past the finish line will be the winner, or if everybody else is eliminated. You're going to start out with a hand of cards. You're going to choose one, and you're going to play it face down. And then everybody will reveal at the same time. Whoever has the highest initiative will go first. Let's say this is green, and they got a 52, so they get the highest initiative. This means they can then move 4 spaces, and they can move left and right 2. So say green wants to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and he can move left or right as he goes through. Then 45 would go. Let's say he can move 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he can move left or right. And that's good, the next one, etc. So this one can't move left or right. So that's pretty easy. It's, you move. And now, each of these terrain things are going to do something a little different. So if you go into a planet, you die. The black holes are always going to move you towards it, but if you get into it, you die. You're going to have these little blue spots. When you move into them, they do not cost any movement points to move in. You're going to have these pink ones that are space fog. If you move in, you're going to get 2. And these little white ones with a cube, they're going to have cubes. So when you go through it, you're going to gain these energy cubes. Now, what do energy cubes do? You can spin them to move extra spaces. So if you want to be able to move, like, that does not look good to me, you can spin one of these and continue to move through, and they will help you as the game progresses. Once again, first one across the finish line, or if everybody else is eliminated, is the winner of the race. Who should purchase this game? This is what I cannot highly recommend. It's an okay racing game. It's average at best, and I feel like the package that was presented in kind of cements that in that they didn't really care as much. I'm a little bit surprised this game got released at all. It's just a bizarre little game. I think maybe if it was decked out, had variable player powers, there's a little bit more to it, I feel like the game would have been a bigger hit. But as it's produced, it's kind of hard for me to recommend this. There are a bunch of racing games I would recommend before this one. If you like the space theme, maybe that ratchets it up for you just a bit. But for us, it's definitely a Purge.